Hello, my beautiful and amazing people. It's your girl, Racheal Kay, and we are right here with another beautiful episode of Ladies with Stories. And I'm so delighted to have each and every one of you back again on the show. So, guys, if you are viewing, kindly drop a comment with where you're viewing from so we can say hello to the people in your vicinity. I remain your baby girl, Racheal Kay. So kindly drop a comment in the section box so I can say hello to you and know where you are viewing from. So please drop a comment. How are you doing? How was your day, or how is your day still going? Please drop a comment. Thank you. And also share with your friends so they know we are live. Ladies with Stories is live. How are you? How are you? Who is live with us? Ladies with Stories is live. Please drop a message so we can say hello to you. Hello, how are you doing? How was your day? Hello, Ketura, how are you doing? Thank you for always sharing our posts on your page. Thank you for always doing that. I see you and I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Ketura. All right, let your friends know we are live by sharing this live broadcast. Ladies with Stories is live. For those joining us, Ladies with Stories is a platform that inspires and empowers women to succeed. We do that through sharing of true life stories on our fortnight broadcast, just like this. We share stories across the globe on different issues such as abuses, successes, courage, growth, and all you can imagine. So we share that on lots just to keep you inspired and empowered. So please let somebody know we are live. Our guest is right here in the studio, and we wouldn't want to waste so much time today. So we'll bring her up very soon. So, guys, please drop a comment, let people know we are live, share the video, and let them know Ladies with Stories is live. I'm doing very well, Kitura. Hello, Ruben. How are you? All right, so while we wait for more people to come on board, we're just going to go on this quick break, and after that, we'll bring our guests. So stay glued and let people know we are live. Welcome back, my beautiful and amazing people. Hello, Ruth. How are you doing? It's your girl, Racheal Kay, and we are live here with another beautiful and exciting episode of Ladies with Stories. Last week, or the last episode, we had our Kajida inspirational women. They shared tips on how we can, add impact to our lives, have audacity, live the life we were ordained by God to live. And it was so amazing having all of them on the set. Like I said, our guest is right here in the studio, and we are so excited to have her on our platform. So if you haven't shared this video, please share this video. Let's just give one more minute for everyone to share the video, and then we can bring up our guest. Okay, so are you ready? Are you ready to meet our guest? Is somebody ready? Are you excited? Without so much waste of time or without any waste of time, guys, let's make welcome our guest for today, Kristen.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing? Good to have you on our platform.
Doing well. What about you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much. It's such a delight, having you here. I only made a post like, who wants to share their story? And, you reached out. You're like, oh, you want to share your story about your organization. And for me, this is so much of a big deal because this is young minds, or we are young minds trying to rub each other to bring about the change we want to see. So thank you for agreeing to share your story on our platform. Please feel free at this point to share your story. Tell us who you are, what you do, and why you are here.
Awesome. Thanks again, Rachel. I appreciate it for having me
You're
on here
welcome.
today. But yeah, I'm Christine. I go by she, her pronouns. I'm coming from Edmonton, Alberta, in Canada. I'm residing on like a Treaty 6 territory of Niuwa, Blackfoot, Anishinaabe, First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. And basically, I'm a social worker, but I also do a bunch of other things like public speaking and just talking about my mental health. So, yeah, a little bit about my project, my community project called A 10 a Day. I created this when we were in the midst of the pandemic, actually. So I think that time for everyone was super difficult, and I felt like I wanted to do something. Throughout my life, I did grow up low income and, struggled with a lot of different mental health difficulties within my family and also myself personally. So, I wanted to do something to kind of help within my own like city, just because I saw a lot of people struggling, and I created a 10 a day. It was an idea at like 1 in the morning. I was not sleeping for some reason and decided why not create some kind of community project to really do something. And so got involved with making these like tins, self-care tins. And so basically, inside of these tins, I put the essentials that anyone who's on the street would want and need. So, things like shampoo, conditioner, toothbrushes, things like that, that I think a lot of us take for granted. When, if you just don't have that money, it's like, it's always great to take care of yourself when you can. And I think that's always been a barrier, especially when you're struggling to even find a place to sleep for the night.
Mm.
So that was kind of where my little project started.
Oh, wow. So, what inspired this little project of yours? I know you mentioned it was during the pandemic, and you just thought about starting something. But what was the inspiration behind it?
I'd say like for me, I had a father figure that passed away, and I had a cousin who overdosed, and so those were two people who really inspired me because both of them were very they loved people. It didn't matter who you were; they were going to talk to you just to like chat and see how your day was. Um, and a lot of times they were really tight with a lot of the people on the street. Like they were just very friendly, and they. I know a few times with my father figure, I remember going to McDonald's and we saw a guy that was outside of the store, outside of McDonald's, and my father figure like asked him, I mean, if he wanted any food. So he got him some food, asked him what he wanted, and then we chatted with this guy outside for quite a while. I was 5 years old at this point, and so
Right.
I think it really just showed me, kindness goes a long way, but also, giving back when you can. Just because, I've been there before where struggling with money is a thing. Luckily, I've been able to not be homeless, but, just seeing where I could use my privilege for something. So.
Mm. All right, that's amazing. Using your own experience as a tool for positive change. Earlier, and you mentioned mental health at a point. You had some mental health conditions. That's something you want to share with us.
Totally. I am very open about it a lot of times. I do this, publicly speaking about my mental health a lot. Struggled with a lot of different things with, substance abuse. And specifically, I got diagnosed with ADHD and also anxiety disorder. So those two things I did not know about until I was like 19 years old. So it was quite a while. And I struggled a lot with it where struggling in school, didn't know if I was going to graduate high school, really just didn't even show up at school. It was very much a struggle for me to finish. And then same with just like was failing all my classes. And then also with having my anxiety disorder, it really created a barrier for me to do things that I wanted to do.
Mm,
And so with that, I kind of like was like, well, I don't want to struggle anymore. In my family, it's very a taboo topic to talk about mental health. So it was something that was already not talked about in general. And so I thought, Kate, well, I want to change something like how I'm like in my generation. So
yeah.
I thought, I should go get some help just for my own self. And that was kind of the start of recognizing my ADHD and the anxiety disorder, but also using them as kind of like a superpower to kind of create this project a day with kind of my energy level. So, yeah.
Okay, so how were you able to find solutions for your mental health issues?
For me, I started going to therapy. It was a huge thing for me. And I think another thing too that didn't really realize until I did it more was going on walks was just really great.
Just
And it
normal
really,
evening works?
sorry?
Normal works?
Yeah, just like regular walks that I would just do within the day. And it just really helped me, get that sunshine in. And so that was a big thing. But also, yeah, the therapy was huge. And then just started kind of connecting with just more, just talking more to like family and friends who I could trust about kind of what I was struggling with. Because I was a closed off person. I still am, but in a different degree. And so I think, once I started talking to at least one friend about it, it also felt like we kind of built like a community in a sense, just because they understood, because they also experienced kind of similar things that, we both could relate to. And no, definitely my friends were lifesavers in a lot of ways that I don't think they'll ever understand truly. But therapy also, yeah, was a big one. Was a big one.
Therapy and friendship. So it was about your circle and, getting professional help to help you through the process.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's get back to Tina Day. How many people have you helped so far?
Oh, that's a big question. I would say I've been able to disperse about over 1,000 tins now. So
Whoa.
that's been a
Do you
great.
have anything there so we can see what your Tina Day looks like?
Do I have any tins with me? I ran out of tins right now. But I with if we have another break, I could try to find one possibly. But yeah, with our tins, like basically putting self-care things in it. And I really do start with I really prioritize with the environment as well. So looking at like let's say like bamboo toothbrushes instead of
Mhm.
plastic ones. Looking at different products that are going to be able to be recycled is a huge thing for me. And the other thing too is I'm using tins. So these are coffee tins, cookie tins that you would usually just garbage, at
Mm.
least in Canada. And so that's where like I wanted to also put that environmental touch to it because I am kind of like a tree hugger. I love the environment. So that was a huge priority for me.
So about 1,000 people have benefited from your project, and that was from 2022 to 2024. That's a lot, a lot in a short period of time. So it means we can actually make impact from our little environment one step at a time.
Mm.
And how do you get those things? You have people that donate to you, or do you use your personal fundings for those items?
So in the beginning, definitely did. And so I was like, well, this is not going to last for long because I am a student. I am not rich. So I realized, okay, I need to figure things out. And so I started getting funding from different small programs that are offered in Canada for youth who have projects or community projects. And we get funding from these specific little tiny programs that are funded from like the Canadian government. And then also I been able to get some great support from just the community as well. The Kinsman group in Edmonton has been really supportive, and they kind of help me with dispersing my tins a lot of times, and they've definitely helped with getting products as well. So it's been a range of, I'd say, community and also just funding from different programs offered. So.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really amazing. So what are some of the challenges you have faced or you are still facing concerning your project?
I think in general, a lot of times I think personally I can always be hard on myself when I'm like, oh, I only was able to give this many tins out today. So I think that's one thing that the need out there for how the increase of homelessness in my city is crazy. And I think there's always just so much of a need that I feel like I'm not always able to give it all. And I'm also very aware of it slowly now, but I think it's just the struggle of knowing like I'm not able to help everyone. Which, again, it's a process of understanding that. I think the other thing has just been struggling trying to find products that are, environmentally friendly, but not insanely priced. Because again, obviously, trying to balance money. Yeah. So I think that's been a huge thing. And then just in general is just, I should keep in mind, I'm working as a one-man team. I do have help from the community, but this is very much, I'm usually,
your project.
Yeah. So it's very much everything I'm doing where I'm packaging them most times, even though I have had help before. But yeah, it's definitely, I think it's just a lot to do as a one-man team, definitely wanting to build it bigger at some point. But I'd say those are kind of the areas of, I guess, kind of struggle or just,
Okay. So in the next 5 years, where do you see Tina Day?
I love this question. I would hope to kind of just see it grow a bit more. So again, having more people on my team for a tin a day, obviously want to increase that number of how many are dispersed, and really hoping to really do more of an outreach to different areas in at least Alberta from where I'm at. So maybe going to Calgary and getting it started there as well. I would like, again, this to be more of an international thing, but right now it's going to have to stay local. But yeah, I'd say that's the big thing for the next 5 years is to hopefully just grow. And also just like to continuously look at different products and do more community building across the city. Yeah.
Oh, that's big. That's really big. Seeing where you want to be right from now, it's clever. It's really clear.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll go on a quick break, and once we return, we'll just wrap up and then we go. So stay with us, and if you haven't shared this, please share this and let people know we are live and we are discussing Teen a Day with Christine. So we'll be right back. Welcome back, my beautiful and amazing people. We are on the set with Christine, and we've been discussing about her project, a teen a day, a teen a day. Okay, so the
You got it.
so it's about a teen a day where she supplies the homeless people with essential items in a tin, cookie jars, coffee jars or coffee containers, just things that are around her that she can use. So she put in toothbrushes, toiletries, and just passes it around to people who she thinks they need those essentials. And so far, she has been able to distribute to 1,000 persons or more, because she doesn't have the record, but I believe there are more, 1,000 persons or more in the last 4 years. She started the project in 2024, in 2020 during the pandemic, and now it is growing. And she has had fundings from local organizations, little groups, and some from the government of Canada. So back to you, Kristen. Did you find a team?
I had actually only one, so today's the lucky day of having one available. But yeah, this is kind of like what it looks like. This one is Christmassy themed, but yeah, it's a cookie jar. And so
Okay, so that's a
inside,
cookie jar. So, can you please raise it up a bit so we
oh
can
yeah,
see? So that's the size of the jars, and then they usually have toiletries and all the essentials you can think of that can help someone. So this is an idea for someone out there. You can start a project just like this. It doesn't have to be really huge. You don't have to wait to have a big bag or a sack of clothes before you can start. It starts with an idea, and it starts with the intentions also. Idea, intentions, and you get the speed. You go. So, Kristen, what would be that advice you give to a young girl out there or a young guy out there thinking to start a project but unsure about how to go about it, unsure on how to go about it? I'm not sure if you.
no, I got it. I think I would say honestly, just do it. In the sense of you really have nothing to lose. I think that was one thing that I wish like I did it sooner. Because really, what was stopping me? Like age does not matter. And yeah, I'm in school, but like just I think the only thing is just really making sure like building connections and really talking to people. If you have a great idea, like share it with other people. I think the more people know about something, the better it can become. So I would say, yeah, that's kind of my words of wisdom, and just yeah, just do it. Life can be sometimes short, so I think it's always like just go for what you want to do.
Okay. So just go for it and share with people. Not usually people, young people like us, have fears of what if I share my idea with someone and the person steals my idea? So what would you say?
That's a tricky one, but I think in general, uh, people can steal things, but I think it's also you can always I think change your ideas but also collaborate with that person. I know it sounds kind of wild to do that, but it's like if you see someone maybe trying to do the same thing, why don't you just ask and say, hey, do you want to do this together? um,
Mm,
it's really there shouldn't be any competition here. I think it's always like thinking it in that mindset where um, shouldn't be competing, so work together when you can. Yeah.
okay. So we have a question here. It says, what was her motivation when she started? How does she decide giving the team gift was the best she could do?
Okay. I'd start, yeah, with the first one is just the motivation of, had, again, like a father figure pass away and my cousin who passed away. And they both were really just decent people. And they just were very much giving. And a lot of times, again, when there was someone who was on the streets, my father figure would definitely talk to them or my cousin, and then would buy them food or just chat with them, because it's crazy what a conversation can do. You can really learn a lot about people that way. So I'd say that was my motivation. You know, love them both dearly, and they really made me kind of get into even social work and just doing this work. Yeah. And then the other question, if I'm reading it right, I'd say like,
So I'm sure it's supposed to be a theme. How did you decide giving the teen gift was the best idea you could do?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was kind of how I was reading it. But yeah, I would say I just realized that cookie tins and like these tins again are not recyclable in Canada. So I thought, what could I do with it to reuse it in a way? Because I always
Mm.
was brought up to reuse things when money was tight. So that was kind of where tins really came to be a good idea. And also, tins are actually great for people who are on the streets. They do use it for when they're trying to have a fire for the night when it's really cold in Canada. So it's actually a really great thing to make when they need to make a fire for the night. So it can be really great for a few different reasons. So that was kind of where tins came, and then the obviously logo and the name of a tin a day was even better. So
All right, thank you so much. And how do you go about your distribution? Do you have particular days where you go to distribute, or quarterly in a year, or how do you go about the distributions?
it definitely is quarterly, but it also
Oh,
is
I
just
guess.
yeah, you got it on the first try. I would say like for me, it just depends honestly on my schedule. Every year is sometimes crazier than others. So like this year, like I've only been able to do, one disbursement. I'm doing two more soon. So they just kind of range. At first I was just kind of randomly going on the streets and just like usually again um if there was some homeless people in the area that I was like maybe walking around, maybe like if I'm walking in one part of my city, I would give them a tin and I would ask if they would want a tin. A lot of times that's kind of how it started. And then I would drag my friends. Again, they they didn't know what they were doing at first, but
They were
with
there.
but had to drag them around. So they came with me, and then disperse also with the Kinsman group, as I talked about earlier, and just anyone that really is willing to come with me on the street, just because homeless people are people. So they're just like anyone else, really. They're very friendly. A lot of times they got a lot of jokes. They're yeah. So it's kind of how I usually do that.
Okay, so we have a question again. It says, "Great job, Christian. How do you ensure safety while on the streets, as we know those are supposedly high crime sites in most countries?"
That's a great question. I'd say like the safety is I know my street smarts growing up on an area that was a bit, I guess, quote unquote, sketchier in my city. I kind of learned to be street smart. I am a social worker, so I know to kind of how to work with people. I also do carry Narcan, which is for people who are overdosing, possibly, to help them. And also, going as a team is always better because keeping in mind, I know no one can see my height, but I am only 5'1". I am mighty though, but yeah, I am aware of the safety. The one thing is though, I think a lot of people don't know, but the statistics that usually are out there about the crimes is shockingly not really. It's not caused by the homeless. If we
Mhm.
look at the actual stats, and so a lot of times homeless people are more scared of you than you are of them in the sense
Wow.
of like they're worried about their stuff being taken. They're worried about like where they're gonna sleep. Like you know, yeah, there definitely is always possibilities, but I've never had a bad experience ever. So
Mm. All right. I think I like that part of the discussion because this is you kind of like showing a different perspective to what people assume or people read. Could you just tell us a little bit about some of the scenarios where you have worked with people, the homeless people, and some of the situations they have faced that are really scary that you're wondering, could this happen to these people outside?
mhm. Well, there's a thing that's been happening around my city that's been taking basically anyone that's homeless. They've been they're called encampments where there's just a lot of the tents. And then they've had police officers and actually also social workers that would just kind of take all their stuff because they needed to.
Whoa.
They would tell the homeless they need to leave because of, let's say, there's an Oilers game happening, and they want the area to look nice for people who are going to the arena. They would say to the homeless people like, "Hey, you need to leave. You need to pack up your stuff or whatever." And a lot of times they would just like take the homeless people's items, and then they had nothing to take with themselves. Sometimes there wouldn't be always really how to explain it. It's not like they knocked on the tents and said,
And
"Hey, we're gonna come on Tuesday next week, and we're gonna take some
so
of your
don't
stuff."
give them notice. They
Yeah,
just
there's
come
no
and
notice.
leave.
And so I think that's where you could imagine, your stuff being taken all the time, garbaged or whatever, and having to restart how many times? Like that's insane.
Mm.
So I think that's where that's just sometimes, you know, other times, like I have heard of some stories just with like them not really having a place to sleep for the night, so they might have just like slept on a bench. And so like those types of stories are very disheartening in a sense of like, again, we have enough housing in our city, so it's very sad to see when there's people who have to like sleep on a bench when
Mm.
they really should not have to do that.
Wow. That's really sad, really, really sad. And people don't always know those sides of the stories. We all assume, okay, people that are outside there could be the people we should be scared of. Meanwhile, they are the people that need a home to be protected by the things we don't see, but they see them while they are outside. So that's really beautiful. And just to wrap it up, what would you want to advise everyone, young, old, strong, weak, anyone out there? What advice would you want to give?
I think treat everyone with kindness. I think it sounds like it's simple, and I know it's hard because I struggle with that sometimes too. You have your moments, or you have your really like
Yeah.
bad days, but it's crazy what kindness can do. And I think also just not having the fear to have a conversation with anyone. I think in our day and age with technology, it sometimes can take over with, we'll just go on our phones instead of maybe chatting whoever is next to us at maybe a wait line for something. And I think it's always just great to, talk to people and learn their stories because everyone has a story. And I think it's always worth listening.
Oh, it's always worth listening. Okay, so I said to wrap it up,
Yeah,
but
I
I'm
see
sorry
that.
about that. So I think we
Good
just have
question.
some questions coming in. So
Of course. I love that.
I'm just going to ask you. Someone said, "How do you get over the fear of not making impact if you're self-sponsored and can only reach about 5 people, 5 persons?"
I think, it's been a process of being okay with, only reaching to a few people. But I think it's the action of what I'm doing. So, like, I'm giving these tins to people who are homeless, and, I want them to feel like a human again with having these self care tins. So, I think no matter every single number is great, and every single person that I'm able to give a tin to is important, even if it's just maybe one person, because I think it still makes a difference for their day at least. And especially with the really great stories that I've had the experience of when giving tins, I think it doesn't matter on how many people in a day or how many I give out. It's just being able to have those conversations with people and, treat them like humans because they don't get treated like humans.
Yeah.
People can be really mean and horrible. So I think, yeah.
All right, thank you so much. So, kindness should be the key word, and conversation is what we desire from most of what you do is just to have the conversation, make them feel like they belong, or because they belong to the society. Although it may take long, but someday it may eventually get fixed into the society, which is great. So, we have another question. Is your vision to expand beyond Alberta, or would you prefer to expand locally for now? I must say, you are doing a great service to humanity.
I love the comment. Thank you. But also, I think for expanding beyond Alberta is the plan. I should also note, I didn't say this at the beginning, but I also have a website that I've been putting on QR codes around my city, but also anywhere I've been traveling. So I am hoping to, expand out of this to, again, different provinces and then internationally, because I am working on an international website for mental health resources. So it is in a process, but for now, I'm going to stick to Alberta because I love going 0 to 100 because I have so much energy. But I need to be aware of my own, just balancing out my own life. And yeah.
All right, you are welcome. Whenever you're ready to start internationally, we are open in Nigeria to receive you, and I'm open to receiving you in Kaduna State. So whenever you're ready,
Amazing.
you're welcome.
Perfect. Thank you for the invite. I'll keep you in mind when I get to Nigeria.
All right, someone says, do you revisit the same people or just do a one-off thing gift?
I would say most times it is different people every time. I have seen some people there's a lot of people that I've seen. So it's hard to keep track, but I've definitely most times it's just one time given the 10. There has been a few times I think that I have seen people regularly that I've given more than one tin to, but on a different, month or whenever I've been dispersing. So yeah.
All right, thank you. So different people
Yeah.
at all times.
It
Give
really
different people.
Yeah.
So one said, what is the greatest challenge you have ever heard? Sorry, what is the greatest challenge you had ever had reaching the people?
I would say I think the challenge would be not knowing where all these encampments are. So when I talked about earlier, just about these encampments being destroyed by like the police in my city and like in the province, it's been like a common thing. Um, people are always moving then. So it's hard to keep track of where all these different people are going because I am talking to people. I'm giving these tins with people who are on the street rather than going into a homeless shelter and giving the tins. So the challenge is just trying to locate where these encampments are because they are always popping up, but then they're always being taken down. So it's very much difficult to always find. And at the same time, there's a lot of places that, for example, there's a place called the Bissell Street. Bissell, and so they had one of their buildings basically they can't rent it out anymore, and they were using it as like a homeless shelter support service, and there would usually be encampments around there, but now that service and like building is not being in use for that due to some issues with the people who owned it earlier, so that's kind of been again very, very difficult to navigate, but I would say that.
Okay, so finding where they are sometimes is difficult, and I have worked on my project while I was in the university. It was about internally displaced persons, and just like you've shared, it was more about them moving from shelters to shelters and not having the owners of the place be like, oh, I need to build up, I need to complete this. Can you move to another vicinity? And people that have already known them find it very difficult locating them because they keep moving where they stay. So we have the final question, which is please put the link to her site. So we want the link to your website and any other projects you're doing, your Instagram, your Facebook, your website. If you could just help us with that, and then I'll just drop it on the chat.
Yeah, I will grab that for the website for sure. Yeah, it's called a tin a day. Basically the same thing. And I actually should show it when I find the link. It looks like this on the tins. It's like the little QR code. I feel like my screen is like blocking it out. It's like, there we go. If you guys can kind of see it, my screen is blocking it, but it's a QR code. And so anyways, that directs people to this website. And yeah, I will pop that down and then let me just get this. Perfect. And then Racheal, you said also just like the social media as well, you said?
Yes, please.
Okay, did you get the website? I don't know if it's sent properly.
Was it email or through the chat here?
Just through the chat.
All right, we'll get that. I'll check it through now and we'll put it
there
up. Okay, I think I've gotten it. Thank you.
Beautiful. And then I'll like slowly send the other social medias. Should be easy peasy. There we go. Yeah, I also have a Twitter for it, a LinkedIn, and an Instagram for it. So Basically, anyone who wants to reach out can be through any of those. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Kristen. It's been a beautiful evening with you. And just to give us a wrap on what Kristen has been talking about, she has a project in a day which was inspired by her father figure and her brother. They inspired her through their act of kindness and charity when they went out to eat. And the dad got something for her, for someone outside, and it stayed with her since when she was 5 years old. And growing in her vicinity, there are a lot of homeless persons, and she thought, oh, I should make an impact by helping people with the essentials of life. And yep, she grabbed her cookie jars, grabbed the coffee containers, and she stuffed that with essential items, toothbrushes, toiletries, and she goes out quarterly to distribute this item as a one-man team. Though she had her friends, she dragged her friends into this to help her in the distributions. So they helped in distributing these items. And so far, they have been able to help about 1,000 persons in different locations. Some of the challenges she is facing, or some of the challenge she has mentioned, is trying to figure out where these people are, because sometimes they are usually moved, the camps are usually moved. So trying to get to them is really, really not so convenient at times. And also, she said some of the challenges these people are facing is being asked to move their tents without notice, and having to start all over again. And her word for us today is just start whatever project you have in mind, go for it. As a young person, start that project. You don't have to wait for so much to start your project, but that little you can have, start it. And the icing on the cake today is kindness. Always be kind. Always be kind. It doesn't matter wherever you find yourself, it doesn't matter to who, be kind. Rather than spending time on your phone and chatting up, and there are people beside you, all you can do is start a conversation. Your conversation could be a healing to someone. Your conversation could help someone, try to express themselves properly. Thank you so much, Kristen, for being on Ladies with Stories. We hope to have you another time. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Of
This is me
course.
saying, have a lovely weekend and have a great night. No, have
Thank
a great day right now.
you. Have a great night as well. But thank you so much again for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you, and see you in Nigeria.
Yes, see you. Bye.
Bye. All right, thank you so much, guys, for staying with us. It's your baby girl, Racheal Kay, and we've been talking with Christine about her community project. And this is just to let you know that there are people out there. It isn't only in Nigeria that we have the homeless people. Just in case you're wondering who are the homeless people, the Miroko on the streets, Yambara, that we call them in the north. Those are the people she's talking about. Right in your own community, there are people that are homeless. You don't have to wait to have 100 bags of rice before you go on a street event. You don't have to wait to have 1 million naira before you help people around you. It starts with the thought of being kind. How can I help this person? How can I help these people? What does she do? Toothbrush, bathing soap, cream, roll-ons. She just put them together and she started. She didn't have to start with 100 people or the 1,000 people. She started with at least one person or two persons. And today she has impacted 1,000 people. Come on, guys. You can start that project too. You can be of impact. That small thing you think is small, to someone it is big. Rather than shouting and insulting those people that are begging you for help when you pass the streets, you can just look for something and give them. They may not value it, and they may value it. So you can never tell who will value it and who wouldn't value it. But in all, be kind to people. Let kindness lead. Go for your project. Don't be scared about it. Go for it and you will succeed. Like I always say, success is unisex. Don't let anyone stop you. And you can always collaborate. If you find someone that has your idea, collaborate with that person. And then you will blossom, guys. You will blossom. So this is me saying thank you so much for joining Ladies with Stories. I hope you were inspired to be a better version of yourself and to be of impact to people around you. See you No, see you in 2 weeks' time. That will be the 3rd of May as we bring you another story on the 3rd of May. Thank you so much for staying with us throughout the year from February right till today. We are grateful and we hope to see you another time. Goodbye and have a lovely, 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 lovely weekend. Bye.